Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to discuss another forbearance related topic, and that's the question of, can you sell your home while you're in mortgage forbearance? This question came directly from a viewer, and I thought it was an interesting question because it's not been asked of me before, and it's not really something I've read about, but I did want to take the time to actually answer the question and also give you some things to think about if you've considered selling your home and you're in the forbearance process. But before we get into that, my name is Jeb Smith. I'm a real estate broker here in Southern California. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch. If you're new to me, new to my channel, and you want to keep up to date on everything real estate related, whether it's, market updates, buying a house, selling a house, or just trending topics like forbearance and how they might affect you as a homeowner, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I put out videos 3 to 5 times a week to keep you updated on the real estate world. And, my job here, my goal is to help guide you through that real estate process. So thanks again for taking the time to watch. So the question was, can you sell your home while you're in forbearance? And the easy answer to the question is yes. That's definitely one of the options you can do to pay off that forbearance. Now, keep in mind when you go into forbearance, as you reach the end of the forbearance period, assuming you're with Fannie, Freddie, VA, FHA, they've created different options for paying off the forbearance, whether it's a lump sum payment, a repayment plan, a loan modification, or the deferral, which we've recently talked about, where you're able to take those missed payments and add them to the principal on your loan and pay them off at the end of your loan. That's an option. The other option would be selling your property, right? There are going to be some people that reach the end of forbearance and they're not able to continue making payments, whether it's continuing where they left off through the deferral, and they're able to continue making that same payment that they had before because of unemployment, because of furloughs, or what have you. Or maybe there's just a change in circumstance or situation where you can't continue to pay that, and the only option they have would be to sell a property. Now keep in mind, if you have equity in your property, enough equity to cover those missed payments that you've delayed during the forbearance period, then it's a pretty easy process. It's no different than selling a property without having the forbearance. What happens is your lender or the escrow company would just order a payoff demand on your property, which is essentially how much you owe on the property, and it would take your principal balance, and it would also have all of those missed payments on there. And assuming again that you have that equity would go to pay off those missed payments at the end of the forbearance period, and you would receive the remaining balance of whatever those proceeds are. Now, some things to consider here. So the answer is yes. Yes, you can definitely sell your property, right? That is one of the options. So we've addressed that question. But to me, there's some things, some unsettled questions that you have to consider if you're one of these people that are going to sell your property. If you are planning on selling your property and you're looking to buy another property, you're not looking to rent for the short term, you're actually looking to buy something else, this is where you need to consider that process, right? It's because Fannie and Freddie recently came out and said that, they will allow you to purchase a home, even if you filed for forbearance, if you've reinstated your loan. That means paying your loan off, like we've discussed, through one of those payment options. Any of those payment options that we discussed, the repayment plan, the loan modification, the deferral, that all reinstate your loan. They will allow you to purchase another property, at which point you've reinstated and you've made 3 consecutive payments afterwards. So you've made 3 additional payments on time after you've reinstated your loan. You're now eligible to purchase a new property. But they don't say, if you sell your property and you haven't made 3 consecutive payments, because when you sell your property and the proceeds from the sale go to reinstate that loan or pay off that loan in that case, you haven't made those 3 consecutive payments. So the question is, how are Fannie and Freddie going to look at you purchasing a property coming directly out of forbearance looking to buy a home? Is there a time limit that you're going to have to wait to do that? Unfortunately, there's not a lot of guidance out there at the moment that discusses that. Now, if you're one of those people that are just going to sell your property and go rent for a little bit, then there's really little to worry about, right? Because this won't affect you. But if you're one of those people that maybe are downsizing, maybe you have too much property or too much loan and you're looking to just lower your monthly budget for whatever reason, this is something to consider. So you may have a conversation with a mortgage broker, mortgage banker, whoever it is, your mortgage person, prior to selling your property, just to see how that process is going to go. I am aware that even though Fannie and Freddie have laid out these guidelines with being able to refinance and purchase based on FHFA's recent release, is that a lot of lenders that do Fannie and Freddie loans are still adding overlays on top of those guidelines. So even though Fannie and Freddie put out these guidelines, some lenders aren't just going by those guidelines. They're adding an overlay, which is more. They're requiring more than what Fannie and Freddie are requiring, just so that they know they have a sellable loan at the end of that process. So that is one thing to consider, right? Is, can you buy another property? At which point you sell your property and you haven't made those 3 payments. So that's one thing to consider. The second thing to consider is, what if you are selling your property and you have missed payments, whatever that amount is. You've been in forbearance for 6 months or what have you, and say your payment is $4,000 a month, hypothetically. So 6 times 4 is $24,000. Well, what if you get to the end of that 6-month period and you want to sell your property, or maybe you're still in that period and you want to sell your property, and you don't have enough equity in that property to pay real estate commissions and closing costs or whatever it is for the sale of the property, and the amount of missed payments, right? So now you're in a position where maybe you're upside down on what you owe versus what the home is worth. That's another potential issue that you have here, right? So then what you have to do is potentially discuss a short sale with your lender if you're in that position. So, in theory, you have the equity there to be able to pay off those missed payments, pay commissions, all of that good stuff, and move on. But if you don't, then it's not as easy as just putting your house up for sale and hoping you get an offer and paying it off and move on. There's a short sale process, right? And generally speaking, these short sale processes delay the sale of most properties, right? You have to get bank approval, and there's a process to go through that. So, if you're considering selling your property, then you may want to discuss with a real estate agent, what your home is worth. Have them run numbers, have them get you a net sheet based on what you owe on that property, an idea of the missed payments that you've had. Let them put something together for you to show you exactly how much you should walk away with at the end of that sale, to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in a position where you can't sell that property because of, owing more than potentially it's worth. So, again, these are a lot of what ifs, right? None of this stuff is in stone, and a lot of it changes, on a weekly basis with regards to forbearance and how different lenders are looking at it and what have you. So as I continue to get more information, I will continue to put it in front of you. But I encourage you to reach out if you have questions, right? Again, this came from a viewer, and I feel like it's a good question because I feel like more people are going to be in that position where they're going to need to sell the property later down the road to address maybe employment situation, or for a furloughed situation or what have you. And there's going to be situations where people need to sell, and this is going to come up. So I encourage you, if you have questions, put them below. I'll do my best to address them and in another video so that you can see them and help answer them. But as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye.